Hey y'all, welcome to another Shadowlands dungeon guide. This one's going to be focused on the Necrotic Wake, and luckily there is a summoning stone outside, so you're not going to have to run to this one. As always, this is going to be in chronological order. That way, you can pause and play the video as you're doing the dungeon itself. In the dungeon, there is a ton of items and things that help make this easier, so make sure you're taking advantage of these as I show them throughout the video. The first boss that you're going to run into is going to be Blightbone. He's going to have a frontal cone that targets a player called Heaving Wretch. Once it goes off, it's going to spawn little worms, and if you're the one targeted, you're going to want to make sure that you're not getting hit by them, as well as if you're the DPS, you're going to want to make sure you're killing all of these. Throughout the fight, he's going to spawn these puddles on the ground that you're going to want to make sure you're not standing in to avoid any unnecessarily damage that you really just shouldn't be taking it all throughout this encounter. Make sure that you're killing enough adds around him that while you're fighting him, you're not going to be aggroing additional things so that it's going to be nice and easy. As you can see at the end right here, when he targets me, he does turn with you, so if you just turn away from the group, the wretch is just not going to be hitting anyone. The first trash mob that I want to include in here is going to be the Necros. Just make sure you're interrupting them and focus them down, because if you just kill them, you don't have to worry about any AoE for the ads or anything like that. It's really just a mob that needs to die. After you get done with the Necro, over here on the side, you're going to see this little orb right here. If you're a DPS or a tank, you're going to want to grab this. Make sure you're not wasting it on any of these mobs right here, because in just a moment you're going to see how powerful it is. It silences and does AoE damage. So if you take a look at this DPS chart right here, you're going to see how incredible it is to use this on the right pack to make everything go a little bit smoother and obviously get to the top of those charts where you want to be. I wanted to include some pathing in this video as well. There is some easy ways you can just go around here. I want to speed it up so you can get a general idea of what way is easy to go and not have to deal with slower trash. Right here I slow it down a little bit to show you the spear that you can pick up. Now this is something you can use on trash, or in a moment if you accidentally go ahead and aggro this big mob like this group does, it'll actually speed things up quite a bit. If you watch this HP bar and my DPS chart on here, you can see how significant it is, and it speeds up everything so that you're not wasting a bunch of time killing this mob that has a ton of health. The next boss that you're going to run into is going to be Amarth. He's going to use a frenzy that is dispellable, so make sure you're getting that off of him. If you have a Death Knight, it is super easy to tank him right here so that he can just death grip everything in at one time. If not, make sure you're AoEing the adds down, killing them, because based upon how many are alive, you will take AoE damage from them. If they are dead, they will just do damage in a little puddle, which is very easy to avoid. Right here you can see the Necrotic Breath, where it just goes halfway around the platform and tries to get whoever's in the way, so make sure you're not standing directly in front of that and don't get hit by that for damage that you should be mitigating at the end of the day. The next boss coming up is going to be Surgeon Stitchflesh, who's going to have Stitchflesh's creations, and what they're going to do is actually throw a hook out, and you're going to want to make sure you're pointing this hook directly at the boss to pull him down to the platform where you can DPS him. Now you will end up killing these Stitchflesh golems, but it's okay because they will respawn. Throughout the fight, the Surgeon's going to be throwing out these vials that leave AoE damage puddles, so make sure you're getting out of those, as well as you're going to see where he fixates on someone, and if you're not getting away from these, you're going to get absolutely wrecked like this druid does in the video, so make sure you're avoiding that as much as possible. You'll see him jump back up to the platform in a moment, and then another Stitchflesh will come out after a little while. Sometimes it's like up to 30 seconds, and then you're just going to rinse and repeat this over and over again until you end up killing this boss. The next boss that you're going to run into is going to be Nalthor the Rimebinder. If you're ranged, make sure you're staying spread out so that when Frozen Binds goes out, you can either take it off of yourself or you can be dispelled without having other players inside of the circle so that they're not getting bound as well. Throughout the fight, you're going to get Comet Storm cast, and you're just going to want to go ahead and sidestep these. Don't get hit by these because they do a pretty significant amount of damage that is easily avoidable just by moving. If you're a DPS, you're going to get thrown into this gauntlet over here at some point where you just want to avoid the Comet Storms as always. Try not to get hit by any of the Ice Spines, and then go ahead and just kill this mob at the end so that the Valkyrie can go ahead and fly back up to the top. Now there is one last mechanic that you're going to be wanting to watch out for. At some point during the encounter, he's going to target a player and basically create a giant frozen puddle on the ground that if your range is in the correct spot, it's going to be off to the side, so it's not going to be too detrimental. And that's basically the entire dungeon for you. If you enjoyed this guide, please make sure you like and subscribe to this and continue checking out the rest of the videos.